the capital city that defies everything you've heard. What makes a city truly livable? Is it the architecture, the energy, the opportunities, or, something deeper that honestly can't be measured? We've explored capitals across the globe, some captivating, others, forgettable. But today we're diving into one that sparks intense debate worldwide. A city wrapped in controversy, yet pulsing with undeniable life. A metropolis that sits at the heart of the world's largest nation, where luxury cars cruise past historic palaces, where young people dance in the streets, and where contradictions collide in the most fascinating ways. This is Moscow, and by the end of this video, you'll see why this capital of 19 million people continues to mesmerize visitors despite everything you've heard. Forget the headlines, let's discover the real Moscow together. The heart of a giant. Russia sprawls across approximately 17 million square kilometers, making it Earth's largest country by land area. Moscow, often called the heart of this colossal nation, sits just east of Belarus and north of Ukraine. Unlike Siberia's bone-chilling northern regions where temperatures plunge to -50 degrees Celsius, Moscow occupies a more temperate zone along Russia's western border. Winter in Moscow still bites cold, hovering around -20 degrees Celsius, but it's far more bearable than the extremes further north. When you examine the city map closely, something surprising emerges. Moscow doesn't cover massive territory. The total land area spans just 2,511 square kilometers, yet approximately 19 million people call this relatively compact space home. To put this in perspective, St. Petersburg, Russia's second city, houses only 6 million residents. Moscow's dominance is absolute, and remarkably, it has served as Russia's capital for over 850 years, a continuity few capitals can match. Accommodating such dense population in limited space requires creative solutions. High-rise skyscrapers dominate Moscow's skyline, with hundreds of tall buildings reaching upward to house millions. But, this vertical living comes at a cost. Rental prices for average 3-bedroom apartments, slightly better than normal standards, start at 100,000 rubles, translating to at least $1,000 monthly. If you're considering Moscow life, particularly in a city hosting billionaires from around the world, you should budget at least $2,000 per month for living expenses. You can find apartments for 50,000 rubles, but these are typically at least 20 years old, located far from the city center, or, remarkably small. Moscow demands financial commitment, but for those who can afford it, the rewards are substantial. Nearly half the world's capital cities sit along coastlines, but Moscow has no nearby seas. Instead, the Moscow River flows through the city center, providing peaceful recreational space for Russians year-round. Small bridges connect across the river, facilitating land connections for residents and creating picturesque scenes that, honestly, help define the city's character. The famous Moscow Kremlin Palace occupies the very heart and center of the city. This palace stands as one of Russia's biggest symbols, and really, almost everyone visiting Russia photographs it. Today, it serves as Putin's official residence, the seat of high courts, the center of national administration, and the playground of wealthy oligarchs. You'll often see luxury official vehicles with sirens blaring, causing traffic jams throughout the city. It's worth noting that Russia contains many palaces with the name Kremlin, but Moscow's holds special significance. The well-known Red Square sits in the capital, its surroundings paved with cobblestone roads without a speck of litter in sight. Red Square is the most popular area where tourists visiting Moscow spend their time. The architecture here is the lifeline built on strong foundation. Red Square is so vast that when presidents like Putin make speeches or national celebration days arrive, it fills to the brim with millions of people. Another Moscow symbol, the historic St. Basil's Cathedral, stands proudly in Red Square as one of its greatest icons. Currently, there aren't many foreign tourists visiting the square due to Russia's strained diplomatic relations with the West, which has led to decreased or suspended flights by Western airlines to Russia. Despite this, Moscow remains bustling and lively throughout the year, thanks to its large population and abundant resources. One key sign of this vibrancy is the frequent festivals held citywide. If you're fortunate, you may encounter these captivating festivals during your visit. While regular occurrences for locals, they're likely fascinating for outside visitors. Summer in the streets. During the summer months, Moscow people really enjoy the warm weather, often strolling around in short sleeves. The city just bustles with life, both during the day and into the evening. Despite its historical impacts, Moscow actually offers an active and comfortable lifestyle. The streets fill with people, usually in groups of friends. It's honestly quite rare to see someone walking alone. Some folks sit on benches, chatting with friends, others share stories in cafes, and some have their photos taken by photographers in the streets. The photography scene. The photography culture in Moscow is really quite remarkable. In the city center, professional photographers with high-end cameras offer their services to capture the beauty of Russian people. They set up backdrops in busy spots, providing professional backgrounds for those wanting photos taken. However, there's really no need for this, to be honest. Every corner of Moscow, its parks, rivers, streets and architecture, provides ample opportunities for perfect photographs. Russian people, especially women, truly enjoy having their pictures taken. Even if you photograph them without them noticing, when they do realize it, they don't react aggressively or angrily. Instead, they smile and pose for the camera. It's clear that Russians frequently have their phones in hand, always taking photos of themselves. Even if you're not photographing them, it appears Russians don't just seek approval from others, but also from themselves. Architectural splendor. Moscow boasts architecture reminiscent of Western European styles, with each architectural wonder holding iconic status for the country. The city really does meet the expectations of an ideal place to live. Want to dine out? Well, hundreds of restaurant options await. Tired of visiting the same park or nightclub? There are plenty more to explore. If you enjoy meeting new people, Moscow has an abundance of fresh faces to encounter. The Slavic look. When you observe people's faces, you can clearly see the characteristics of the Slavic race. About 8 out of 10 people have fair skin and are often blonde. Many Russians have blue or green eyes. Beauty, of course, is subjective, but there's no denying the global fascination with the Slavic appearance. Russians seem aware of this attention, which probably contributes to their high self-confidence. Additionally, Russians dress quite elegantly, not just when going out at night, but even during casual daytime meetups with friends. The cost of the Moscow dream. Well, Russia actually offers significant income-earning opportunities, but to afford the vibrant Moscow lifestyle, a net income in the range of $4,000 to $5,000 per month is needed. Otherwise, the luxurious lifestyle could, really strain your budget. If Moscow is too expensive, you might consider living in the city of Vladimir, which is located just east of Moscow. In the eastern part of Russia, you'll also find the large and lively city of Kazan. And if you prefer a city that's less crowded, but still well developed and located near the Finnish border, then St. Petersburg is the place for you, situated north of Moscow. A magnet for youth. Moscow doesn't just attract adults, it draws young people from all over Russia. This is because the city is home to the country's largest technical universities. Young individuals come here to pursue education that can open doors to international career opportunities. Moscow is now home to 13 universities, making it a city appealing to people of all ages. Freedom and faith. Russia is predominantly Orthodox Christian. However, the religious structure and style of governance do not interfere with clothing and lifestyles of its people. People are free to dress and live as they choose without societal or governmental pressure. In Moscow, people enjoy dancing not only in venues but also on the streets. They exhibit a zest for life on par with Western European lifestyles full of energy and love for fun. Street life and music. Moscow's residents are highly motivated, which also provides means of livelihood for young people who want to earn money playing music. Musicians playing various instruments can be found on every street corner. While strolling through Moscow, you might constantly hear beautiful melodies. Additionally, in the evening during sunset hours, Moscow's sidewalks start to fill with people. You can hardly find empty pavement. Even if people don't go to cafes, they fill parks and sidewalk areas with their loved ones. Unconventional hangouts. They're quite a thing here. In Moscow, it's actually pretty common to see people parking their cars in little corners, opening up their car trunks and just enjoying some hookah. If there's no space in the parks, well, some folks simply take their hookahs and drinks to enjoy in the open air, right in their car trunks. And instead of eating and drinking, some people just prefer spending time chatting by the green banks of the Moscow River. It's also quite common to see Russians using benches for various activities in the evenings. One noticeable aspect of Moscow streets is that, despite the population being relatively young, there is a high consumption of tobacco products. The city has a small elderly population over 65, and you'll mainly see people under 50 on the streets. Elderly individuals are often spotted in the metro, and honestly, they don't attract much attention on the streets. Speaking of metro, it's worth noting Moscow has one of the world's largest and most extensive metro networks. This city boasts a transportation network detailed enough to match the splendor of a capital. What's more, Moscow's metro stations, like other Russian metros, have quite impressive architecture. These ultra-stylish metro designs, inherited from the Soviets, are truly one of Russia's best features. Just observe for yourself how elegant and clean each metro station in Moscow is. Across the country, Russia's metro system hosts more than 160 stations on 11 lines, a testament to infrastructure investment and commitment to public transportation. One remarkable aspect of Moscow is the high number of luxury cars. You'll notice these luxury cars especially in the evening, and each one is absolutely stunning. No matter where you look, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Mercedes and other types of luxury cars suddenly appear before your eyes. There's a street in the city called Malaya Bronnaya where Moscow's elite reside. Taxis are abundant, and the wealthy often spend their time in Moscow's streets like Malaya and Petrovka. You can find the most expensive branded shopping centers and the most luxurious vehicles there. In the evenings, you can experience the traffic and crowds of these streets, witnessing wealth on display in ways that rival any global capital. Because Moscow is cosmopolitan and multinational, you can easily overcome communication barriers with English, even if you don't speak Russian fluently. The city's diverse population also means you can find dishes that suit your taste, reflecting its rich food culture. Moscow's bustling streets are popular among newlyweds for their wedding celebrations. Many people choose Moscow's upscale neighborhoods for weddings, so if you see multiple bride and groom pairs and hundreds of guests gathered around the Moscow River, it's a common sight. The wedding ceremonies in Moscow are not extravagant. Instead, they are simple, with intimate gatherings of close family and friends, a refreshing approach in a city often associated with excess. Today, despite political challenges, Moscow has a vibrant and secure atmosphere. It seems this city will continue to be one of the world's most coveted and intriguing capitals. The people of Moscow appear content with living in their country, and there are no signs of fear or restriction on their faces. This is what makes Moscow so fascinating. It exists in contradiction, a city isolated by geopolitics, yet thriving with energy. A capital where youth dance in streets while diplomatic tensions simmer in background. A place where luxury and simplicity coexist, where orthodox tradition meets modern freedom, where 850 years of history blend with contemporary ambition. Moscow challenges easy categorization. It's neither purely European nor Asian, neither entirely open nor completely closed, neither struggling nor fully prospering. It simply is, existing on its own terms, defying expectations with every street corner, every metro station, every sunset along the Moscow River. Whether you love it or hate it, whether you see opportunity or concern, one thing remains undeniable. Moscow is alive, vibrantly, stubbornly, unapologetically alive. And for 19 million people who call it home and countless others who visit seeking to understand this enigmatic capital, that vitality speaks louder than any headline ever could. This is Moscow, the capital city that defies everything you've heard. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.